You chase external symbols of wealth, relentlessly accumulating possessions, striving for financial security as if it were the ultimate shield against the world's uncertainties, yet a persistent void often lingers, a deeper anxiety unshakable by any market surge. Paramahansa Yogananda, echoing the timeless wisdom of the Upanishads, did not see this as a flaw in your pursuit, but as a profound misdirection. True abundance is not found in what you acquire, but in the infinite, indestructible energy of your own consciousness. If your current definition of treasure leaves you feeling perpetually impoverished in spirit, aren't you ready to confront the real currency of existence? For generations, humanity has been hypnotized by the shimmer of gold, the allure of power, and the illusion of security that material possessions promise. We are conditioned from birth to believe that the more we accumulate, the more complete, secure, and truly rich we will become. This pervasive belief system, woven into the very fabric of our modern society, acts as a subtle but powerful enemy, cloaking a deeper truth about the nature of wealth. It's an enemy that masquerades as progress, as ambition, as the very definition of a life well lived. Yet it subtly drains the soul, leaving an insatiable hunger for something more, something undefined. You might have felt this hunger, this gnawing sense of not enough, even when outwardly everything appears to be perfect. This isn't a sign of ungratefulness. It's a silent alarm bell ringing from the deepest chambers of your being, a protest against a life lived on the surface. This isn't merely about financial advice or a critique of capitalism. It's a radical re-evaluation of value itself, a surgical incision into the very concept of treasure. The hidden pain it addresses is the profound emptiness and spiritual poverty experienced despite material accumulation, the gnawing anxiety of an uncertain future tied solely to external resources, and the deep-seated fear of inadequacy or failure when outer achievements inevitably falter. You are told to build empires, to conquer markets, to amass fortunes. But what if the very act of building outside yourself, without anchoring in the eternal within, is what condemns you to an endless cycle of striving and dissatisfaction? What if the true treasure is something that can never be lost, never devalued, never stolen, and yet remains almost universally unacknowledged, hidden in plain sight? Yogananda, a master deeply steeped in the ancient wisdom of the Upanishads, revealed that the universe operates on a principle far more profound than mere economics. He taught that the very substance of your being, your consciousness, is an inexhaustible reservoir of divine energy, a cosmic currency infinitely more valuable than any earthly coin. The Upanishads declare Aham Brahmasmi, I am Brahman, meaning your individual soul, Atman, is identical with the absolute reality, Brahman, which is pure, boundless consciousness. This isn't abstract philosophy, it's a direct challenge to your ingrained perception of self-worth and security. Your true wealth isn't an external asset, it's your intrinsic, boundless energy, your pure consciousness. The emotional trigger here is a potent blend of spiritual empowerment and mystic curiosity. You are not a victim of circumstance, nor are you defined by your bank account. You are, at your core, an emanation of divine energy. The message offers profound peace and liberating hope, not by promising material riches, but by unveiling the inexhaustible treasury already within you. This is a call to recognize your inherent divinity, to awaken to the limitless source of power and joy that resides in your own consciousness, a source that no recession can touch, no thief can steal, no misfortune can diminish. This truth liberates you from the shackles of external validation and the endless pursuit of fleeting gratifications. This is not a message to abandon all earthly pursuits, but to reorient your focus, to understand the true nature of what empowers and sustains you. It's an invitation to transform your inner landscape so profoundly that your outer world naturally reflects this awakened abundance. Yogananda's teachings, interwoven with the ancient potent wisdom of the Upanishads, are not just about finding peace. They are about reclaiming your divine birthright, realizing that you are not merely a speck of dust, but a dynamic, eternal expression of the cosmic consciousness itself. This consciousness, this vibrant energy, is the only real treasure you possess, the only true source of enduring fulfillment. So I ask you, not as a casual observer, but as a voice that challenges your deepest assumptions, what if the very act of seeking outward wealth is the greatest spiritual poverty, blinding you to the infinite richness of your own soul's energy? What if this relentless striving for more is precisely what prevents you from realizing that you are already intrinsically complete? Comment below with a word that describes your current relationship with wealth, whether it's struggle, abundance, confusion, or peace. Let's ignite a conversation that dares to question the very foundations of value. And if you are still with me, if this resonates with a truth your soul already whispers, prepare to delve deeper into the profound paradox of consciousness. The journey promises not comfort for the ego, but an awakening of the spirit. Are you ready to confront the ultimate truth about your true, immeasurable worth? You've felt it, haven't you? That gnawing anxiety, the unspoken dread that whispers, "Is this all there is?" This isn't merely the fleeting frustration of a bad day. It's the echoing anguish of identifying with something fundamentally impermanent, the hidden pain of believing your security, your happiness, your very worth is contingent upon the volatile ebb and flow of external resources. You strive, you achieve, you accumulate, and for a fleeting moment, a fragile sense of peace settles. Yet, the moment the market shifts, a relationship falters, or a health crisis emerges, that carefully constructed edifice of security trembles, threatening to crumble, revealing the spiritual poverty beneath the material facade. This is the profound emptiness and spiritual poverty experienced despite outward success, the anxiety of an uncertain future tied solely to external resources, and the deep-seated fear of inadequacy when those outer achievements inevitably falter. The very foundation of your suffering lies in a fundamental misidentification, a cosmic amnesia that Paramahansa Yogananda tirelessly worked to dispel. We are conditioned from childhood to perceive ourselves as finite beings in a finite world, reliant on finite resources. This is the inimigo comum, the illusion of material wealth as the ultimate treasure, and the ego's tenacious identification with transient possessions and external validation. This isn't a flaw in your character, it's a collective hypnosis, a spell woven by Maya, the cosmic illusion, convincing you that you are small, separate, and dependent. What your soul suspects, but your ego denies, is that this entire pursuit of external validation, this frantic chase after fleeting gains, is a distraction from the inexhaustible wellspring of treasure within. Yogananda, a true visionary, recognized this persistent quest as a spiritual blind spot, a tragic misdirection of life's most precious commodity, your inherent divine energy. Think of it. You pour your life force, your precious time, your boundless creative energy into acquiring symbols of worth, money, status, possessions, believing these fleeting acquisitions will fill the void. Yet, the Upanishads, millennia ago, proclaimed that the Atman, the individual soul, is none other than Brahman, the absolute consciousness, infinite, eternal, and complete in itself. Yogananda taught that this consciousness is not just a philosophical concept, it is the very essence of your being, pulsating with unlimited energy, pure joy, and unconditioned peace. The universe, in its boundless wisdom, continually presents you with circumstances, the loss of a job, a sudden illness, a betrayal, that shatter your external security, not to punish you, but to lovingly, though sometimes painfully, remind you that your true security lies beyond the perishable. These are not misfortunes. They are divine opportunities, cosmic nudges designed to turn your gaze inward to the only treasure that can never be lost, your own intrinsic, boundless soul energy. This eternal message of the Upanishads, amplified and made practical by Yogananda, cuts through the noise of superficial striving. It challenges the deeply ingrained belief that value is extrinsic, measurable by bank balances or social standing. Instead, it posits that your true value, your ultimate treasure, is inherent and non-negotiable, a divine inheritance. The anguish of impermanence, the fear of losing loved ones, health, youth, and even life itself stems from this fundamental misunderstanding. If you identify with the temporary, you will inevitably suffer its loss. But what if you are, in essence, that which cannot be lost? What if your true identity is the very consciousness that observes these fleeting changes, untouched and untainted? The path of awakening, then, begins not with adding something new to your life, but with remembering something ancient that has been forgotten. It is a process of unlearning the societal programming that equates being with having. This re-evaluation demands courage, a willingness to stand against the current of conventional wisdom and to question the very desires that drive most of humanity. Your soul, yearning for liberation, is signaling to you through this pervasive sense of spiritual inadequacy. It's a call to shift your focus from the ephemeral gleam of material acquisitions to the enduring radiant energy of your inner being. The profound power of Yogananda's teachings lies in their ability to bridge this ancient wisdom with practical application. He didn't just speak of consciousness. He offered techniques like Kriya Yoga, designed to awaken and experience this divine energy directly within. While the practice of Kriya is a sacred, advanced path, the principle behind it is universally accessible. Through focused introspection and deliberate energetic management, you can gradually disidentify from the temporary self, the ego, the body, the mind, and awaken to the eternal self, the soul, pure consciousness. This shift isn't an escape from reality. It's an awakening to a higher reality, one where your true wealth is self-evident and self-sustaining. This awakening offers not just peace, but a profound transformation of your entire being. When you begin to perceive your consciousness as the ultimate treasure, your relationship with the material world shifts. You no longer seek external things to complete you, but rather to express the completeness you already are. The fear of lack diminishes, replaced by an inner certainty of boundless supply. The anxiety of uncertainty gives way to an unshakable faith in the divine order, knowing that your true essence is beyond any worldly fluctuation. This recognition liberates you from the endless pursuit, allowing you to engage with the world with purpose, joy, and detachment, understanding that the greatest wealth is not what you possess, but the indestructible, infinite energy of your soul, your pure consciousness. But how do you begin to tap into this boundless reservoir, this inner treasury that society has taught you to ignore or even to doubt? How do you quiet the clamor of external demands long enough to hear the whisper of your own divine worth? The answer isn't found in another self-help book or another financial strategy, but in a radical shift in your internal compass. Are you ready to discover the precise mechanism to redirect your life's most valuable energy, from the fleeting external to the eternal within, and what obstacles your own mind will conjure to prevent this seismic shift? You now stand at the precipice of a profound realization. Your true treasure is not external, but the boundless energy of your consciousness. Yet merely understanding this truth intellectually is not enough. The journey from intellectual comprehension to lived experience is fraught with formidable challenges, for the very forces that blind you to your inner wealth will resist your awakening with cunning ferocity. This isn't a peaceful stroll into enlightenment. It's an internal war against the inimigo comum, the persistent illusion of material wealth, the ego's identification with the temporary self, and the deeply ingrained forgetfulness of your soul's infinite energy. The ascent to true consciousness is not a gentle staircase, but a tightening funnel where each test is more difficult, and the emotional cost of remaining tethered to illusion constantly increases. Your battle begins not with external adversaries, but with the insidious whisper of your own conditioning, You'll be tempted by the familiar comfort of striving for more, haunted by the specter of not enough. Doubts will flood your mind. Is this really worth it? Is this internal search just an escape from real-world responsibilities? This, is the ego, subtly threatened by the prospect of losing its illusory throne of control, desperately trying to pull you back into the comfort of its known suffering. The door oculta abordada of emptiness despite material gain, of anxiety tied to external resources, and the fear of inadequacy when outer achievements falter, these pains will surge to the surface, challenging your resolve. The question is not if you will face these doubts, but how you will choose to respond to the internal battle to liberate your consciousness from its self-imposed prison. As you attempt to redirect your energy inward to connect with the source of your true wealth, your inherent consciousness, you will confront the cacophony of your own mind. The incessant mental chatter, the endless stream of worries, desires, and judgments that you've unknowingly allowed to define you will become painfully apparent. This is the ego's fortress, built brick by mental brick, designed to keep you distracted from the silent, boundless space of your true self. Yogananda emphasized that the path to realizing the energy of the soul demands disciplined effort, a conscious reining in of the senses and the mind. It is a commitment to quietude amidst the storm, a deliberate turning away from the external spectacle to the profound inner theater. The challenge here is to recognize that this inner noise is not you, but merely a habit, a program running on autopilot. Can you commit to observing this chaos without becoming entangled in it, to find the eye of the storm within your own being? Furthermore, your nascent journey will inevitably create friction with the external world, which operates under the very illusion you are attempting to transcend. Friends and family might misunderstand your newfound focus, labeling it as escapism, selfishness, or even madness. Society, which celebrates outward achievement, may offer no validation for your inner quest. This is a crucial test of your resolve. Will you succumb to the pressure of conformity, abandoning the path of true self-discovery for the fleeting approval of others? Or will you embrace the wisdom of the Bhagavad Gita, which teaches the importance of Dharma, your unique soul purpose, and Karma Yoga, action performed without attachment to results, understanding that your truest duty is to your higher self? Your courage will be tested as you navigate this tension between your inner calling and the demands of the outer world. The deepening of this internal war reveals another layer of resistance, the deep-seated patterns of karma. You are not just fighting current thoughts, you are confronting ancient grooves, habits of consciousness etched across lifetimes. These karmic tendencies pull you back to old ways of perceiving and reacting, to patterns of seeking fulfillment in the transient. Yogananda explained that true spiritual liberation involves purifying these karmic impressions, not by running from them, but by consciously engaging with them from a higher state of awareness. Each time you choose awareness over reaction, each time you turn inward instead of outward, you are dissolving a piece of that ancient bondage. This is where the true effort lies, in the consistent, unwavering practice of inner remembrance. Can you face the echoes of your past, not with fear, but with the clarity of awakened consciousness, knowing that this confrontation is the very key to your liberation? The final, most paradoxical stage of this internal warfare is the realization that to truly win, you must surrender. You must surrender the ego's tenacious grasp on control, its desperate need to define your worth by what it has. This isn't a surrender to weakness, but to a higher power, to the infinite consciousness that is your true self. It's letting go of the struggle, the constant striving, the frantic pursuit. This surrender is an act of supreme courage, a profound recognition that your true power lies not in asserting your limited will, but in aligning with the boundless will of the divine within. It means trusting that your inner treasury, your soul's energy, is inexhaustible and eternally present, regardless of external circumstances. But how do you surrender when every fiber of your being has been trained to fight, to control, to accumulate. This is the ultimate crucible, the moment where the path narrows to a single choice: cling to the illusion of control, or dissolve into the infinite ocean of your own consciousness. Will, you choose to lay down your arms, not in defeat, but in a triumphant act of letting go. And what profound truth will this ultimate surrender unveil about the very nature of your being? The air grows still, the clamor of the world recedes, and the incessant chattering of your mind, the last vestiges of the ego's desperate struggle, begins to dissolve. This is not a cessation of existence, but an expansion, a profound unburdening. You have reached the precipice of true surrender, where the battle against the inimigo comum, the illusion of material wealth, the ego's grip on identity, culminates not in victory, but in dissolution. This moment is the climax, the ceremonial death of the old self and the triumphant rebirth of the soul, where the door occulta abordada of spiritual emptiness and fear of lack is utterly annihilated. This is the alchemy final, where the lead of suffering, purified in the sacred fire of disciplined surrender, transmutes into the radiant gold of pure consciousness. In this sacred instant, it's no longer you doing the work, no longer you striving. Something immense begins to happen in you. The focused attention, the unwavering discipline, the relentless turning inward, all these efforts have prepared the vessel. Now the grace descends. The rigid boundaries of I and mine soften, then melt away. You realize with a clarity that transcends all intellectual understanding that your deepest fears of loss, of inadequacy, of annihilation were always tethered to an identity that was never truly yours. The material treasures you chased, the external validations you craved, now appear as distant, flickering mirages against the vast, illuminated landscape of your true being. As the ego's constructs crumble, a profound silence unfurls, not an empty silence, but one pregnant with infinite presence. Within this stillness, you experience the energy of your soul, not as a concept, but as a living, vibrating reality. It's a boundless current of pure, unadulterated consciousness, pulsing with joy, peace, and an unimaginable love. This is the truth Paramahansa Yogananda spoke of when he affirmed that the real treasure is not money, but the energy of the soul. This isn't merely a feeling, it's a knowing, a direct perception of your inherent divinity. You are not receiving energy, you are realizing that you are this energy. The Upanishad's declaration of Aham Brahmasmi becomes not just a mantra, but a direct, undeniable experience. In this state, you are no longer the one who observes. You become the observation itself. You are no longer the one who feels. You become the feeling, boundless and pure. The individual consciousness, the Atman, merges, or rather, realizes its eternal oneness with the cosmic consciousness, Brahman. This is the peak of emotion and the resolution of the initial hook's tension. The paradox of external striving leading to inner poverty is shattered. The solution was never about getting more, but about uncovering what was always already there within you, an inexhaustible spring of divine wealth. The fear of lack, which was a constant companion, evaporates completely, replaced by an overflowing sense of complete sufficiency, an intrinsic fullness that needs nothing outside itself. This transformation is not a momentary high, but a fundamental recalibration of your entire being. Your energy centers, once dormant or misdirected by outward pursuits, awaken and align. You feel a vibrant current coursing through you, a living testament to the boundless energy of the soul. This isn't just about feeling good, it's about becoming profoundly good, deeply aligned with the universal flow of creation. The gatilho, emotional primario, of spiritual empowerment is fully realized, not as an acquisition of power, but as the recognition of your intrinsic, eternal power. The mystic curiosity that drew you in, is now satisfied by direct experience, leaving a profound sense of peace and liberating hope. This is the ultimate healing for the soul's deep-seated anxiety, the antidote to the fear of the unknown. When you know yourself as this boundless energy, this pure consciousness, the transient nature of the material world loses its power to bind or frighten you. You see it for what it is, Maya, the divine play, beautiful in its impermanence, yet never able to touch the core of your eternal being. The Bhagavad Gita's wisdom of detachment is not about indifference, but about engaging with the world from this elevated state of consciousness, acting with wisdom and compassion, but without the ego's frantic attachment to results, knowing that your true worth is unassailable. This is the moment of your spiritual rebirth. You have shed the heavy cloak of identification with the temporary, the finite, the material. You have stepped into the radiant, boundless light of your own eternal consciousness. The treasure you sought externally, always just out of reach, was always within, waiting for you to simply turn your gaze, to simply let go. Now this inner wealth, this infinite energy of the soul, is not just yours. It is what you fundamentally are. And now, with the weight of the ego's illusion lifted, I ask you a question that cuts to the core of your being. A question that demands a raw, unfiltered response. If you were to fully embrace this truth, that your deepest self is boundless, infinite consciousness, an inexhaustible treasure, what is the single greatest illusion you have clung to, the one that held you back from this awakening? Share your deepest realization, even if it feels vulnerable, in the comments below. Let your truth become a beacon for others seeking their own liberation. The tempest has passed. The inner war, the fervent striving against the inimigo comum of material illusion and egoic identification, has resolved not in victory, but in a profound and serene dissolution. You are left not with conquest, but with a quiet, pervasive awareness, a realization of your true nature as boundless consciousness, an inexhaustible source of divine energy. This is the novo normal, the living translation of a mystical experience into the tangible fabric of daily existence. The sky has indeed touched the earth within you, anchoring the sublime into the mundane. The anxious tremor that once accompanied every thought of the future, every appraisal of your material standing, has been replaced by an unshakable inner peace. This isn't a peace born of complacency or disinterest, but one forged in the fires of self-realization. It is the peace of knowing, with every fiber of your being, that your essential self, your consciousness, remains untouched by the fluctuations of the external world. Where before there was the dor occulta bordada of spiritual emptiness despite outward success, now there is a profound sense of fullness, an intrinsic wealth that requires nothing to complete it. You understand, as Yogananda taught, that the real treasure resides not in what you accumulate, but in the infinite, indestructible energy of your own soul. The relentless mental chatter, once a tyrannical master demanding your attention, now recedes into the background, an observed phenomenon rather than a defining reality. You are no longer enslaved by the incessant stream of thoughts and emotions. Instead, you are the serene observer, the unwavering witness, the pure consciousness that perceives them without becoming entangled. This newfound mental clarity is not an absence of thought, but the ability to choose your focus, to direct your energy with purpose and wisdom, rather than being swept away by the currents of the subconscious. This is the essence of self-mastery, the practical application of the Upanishadic truth that the Atman is the ultimate subject, never the object. Your relationship with the material world transforms from one of frantic acquisition to one of detached engagement. You still interact with the world, fulfill your responsibilities, pursue your goals, but with a radically different underlying motivation. The pressure to prove your worth through external achievements dissipates, replaced by the quiet confidence of intrinsic value. The objects you possess, the money you earn, become tools for expression, for service, for contributing to the collective good, rather than sources of identity or security. This is the Bhagavad Gita's principle of karma yoga lived out. Action performed with Christ. Excellence, but without attachment to the fruits, understanding that your truest fulfillment comes from aligning with your divine purpose, your dharma. This journey has cultivated a profound gatilho emotional primario of spiritual empowerment, not as a quest for external power, but as the realization of your inherent power as consciousness. You no longer feel compelled to conform to societal definitions of success or happiness, for you have touched a deeper, more enduring source of joy. The fear of external judgment or failure loses its grip as your internal validation becomes your unwavering compass. This is the freedom Yogananda offered, the liberation from the illusions of Maya by rooting your identity in the eternal and the real. You recall those early days, echoing the topico one's angst, the gnawing anxiety of believing your security was contingent on volatile external forces. Now, the very act of living, of breathing, of simply being, is perceived as an act of profound abundance. The energy that flows through your veins, the consciousness that illuminates your perceptions, is recognized as the ultimate immeasurable wealth. This isn't an intellectual exercise, it's a sensory reality. You feel the boundless energy of your soul, a radiant presence that permeates every cell of your being, connecting you to the cosmic consciousness from which you arise. This awakened state brings a quiet reverence for life itself, a recognition of the divine play in every moment, every interaction. The mundane becomes sacred, infused with the light of your expanded awareness. You find beauty in simplicity, wisdom in silence, and an ever-present connection to the divine within and without. This is the profound peace that surpasses all understanding. A peace not dependent on circumstances, but inherent in your very existence as consciousness. It is the ultimate testament to the truth that Yogananda wished for all to know. Your consciousness is not merely an aspect of you. It is you, and it is the most precious treasure in all of creation. You have tasted the sublime, experienced the dissolution of the ego's grip, and awakened to the boundless energy of your true consciousness. The novo normal you inhabit is one of profound peace, rooted in the inexhaustible treasure of your soul. But what if I told you that this liberation, this profound personal awakening, was never meant to be merely for you alone? What if this individual spiritual empowerment is merely a prelude, a necessary preparation for a responsibility far grander than personal fulfillment? Paramahansa Yogananda, in his divine wisdom, always emphasized that individual liberation is but the first step on a cosmic journey. The inimigo comum, the illusion of material wealth, the ego's separation, is not just an individual challenge. It is a collective hypnosis gripping humanity. The dor oculta abordada of spiritual poverty, of anxiety tied to external validations, is a shared planetary ailment. Your awakening, therefore, is not an endpoint, but a potent activation, an initiation into a larger field of service. The Upanishads, while proclaiming the oneness of Atman and Brahman, also subtly imply a universal dharma, to embody that truth and radiate it for the upliftment of all. As your consciousness expands, so too does your capacity for compassion, for understanding, for recognizing the same divine spark in every being. The gatilho emotional primario of spiritual empowerment transforms from a personal feeling into a universal force. You are no longer merely a seeker of peace, you become a beacon of it. The boundless energy of your soul, once focused on self-realization, naturally begins to flow outward, influencing your environment, your relationships, and ultimately, the collective consciousness of humanity. This is the deeper, unspoken secret of Yogananda's teachings, the implicit challenge within the Bhagavad Gita's call to selfless action. True treasure, true energy of the soul, is not hoarded, it is shared. Your awakened consciousness becomes a catalyst, a quiet revolution in a world still largely lost in the pursuit of fleeting external gains. The question is no longer, how do I maintain my peace? But how does my peace contribute to the liberation of others? Your personal journey, therefore, merges with the infinite journey of universal awakening. The vastness of this realization can be daunting, but it is also exhilarating. Your individuality does not disappear. It becomes a perfectly tuned instrument for the divine will. This is the ultimate paradox. You surrender the personal you to discover the universal you, and in doing so, become a more potent, authentic, and truly wealthy individual than ever before. This is the journey infinite, where awakening is not a destination, but a portal to ever-expanding realms of service, wisdom, and divine love. But what if, after touching this boundless energy, after experiencing the pure, inexhaustible treasure of your own consciousness, you discover that the greatest test of your spiritual power lies not in maintaining your inner peace, but in sharing its radiant light with a world still lost in the shadows of illusion, even when that world seems unwilling to receive it? What sacrifice will this deeper, universal calling demand of your newly liberated self? If this profound journey into the true nature of wealth, if this revelation about the boundless energy of your consciousness and the eternal message of Yogananda and the Upanishads has ignited a spark within you, then act upon it now. Do not let this moment of clarity dissipate into the noise of daily life. This isn't just content, it's a map for reclaiming your divine birthright. Your reflection, your deepest insight from this message is not just a comment, it is a testament to the awakening happening within you. Share below which specific teaching, which paradox, or which truth about the energy of the soul resonated most powerfully with you. Let your voice contribute to this sacred space of shared awakening. Your words can be the very light another soul needs to begin their own profound journey. And if you haven't yet joined our community, if you're ready to continue this path of authentic spiritual empowerment and fearless self-discovery, then subscribe to this channel. Each subscriber is not just a number, it's another conscious being committing to the inevitable awakening, strengthening our collective mission to bring this transformative wisdom to more souls yearning for true liberation. Your engagement fuels this movement, helping us to spread the message that the real treasure is not money, but the infinite, indomitable energy of the soul. Join us and become an active participant in this awakening.